Hey everybody. So there's another video from our favorite Tom MacDonald that just dropped today. I haven't watched the video yet, so absolutely blind play of it right now. Oddly enough, I am wearing black and white today. I went out to dinner with my brother, and so I was already wearing black and white. The song is called Black and White. I did not plan for this. I figured when I came home, I would just get right into it and take a listen. Thanks for all the love on my last reviews. Your America, American Flags, Dirty Money. Thank you guys so much. Hog fam forever. Also, I don't know if you guys are in Nova's Discord or her Twitch stream, but I was in her Twitch stream yesterday, and Nova called me cute. She's like, "Oh, Ellie in Videoland, do you do video things? You're so cute." That made me happy. I don't know. She'll probably never see this, but if you do, shout out Nova. I love you. You're great. So let us watch this video, shall we? Make sure to like and subscribe, please, so I can find more other people in the Hangover Gang community. I've already decided that once I can afford merch, the merch that I will be buying is the Names tracksuit. Anyway, shout out to any gamers. Let's get it going. Guess it just dropped 2 hours ago. It's my first recommended on my YouTube channel, so as you can see, I have not watched it yet. So yeah, let's dive right in.
In the truck, 10 of my buddies are already drunk. We don't go nowhere that doesn't have liquor and cigarettes. Riding mechanical bulls in the club. We like to hunt, leave with a gun. Come back tomorrow, we covered in blood with a bucket of guts. We all tougher the and we pop in the clutch. We ain't stuck in the mud. I'm the white boy with the baseball bat, bunch of face tattoos and a NASCAR hat in a backyard like a scrapyard. Got a glass jar full of tobacco that's blacker than asphalt. Rolling with hundreds of crackers who acting like animals. They cannot handle their alcohol. We the white boys from the backwoods and the bad hoods and the trailer park trash that pack guns. When I was younger, they taught me to struggle and hustle like 200 bikers, and they were my brothers. We coming for blood and you running for cover. Addicted to drugs in the gutter and drunker than anyone leaving the club. We go dumber than thugs. We got mullets and putters and multiple gunners that coming in Hummers. You under the rubber, you'll never recover. Chain smoking, my lungs hurt, my neck red, got sunburns. Bumping Eminem, we all know the words. Bunch of white boys flipping hella birds. Hillbilly really don't care if you like them. Little bit of moonshine fire inside them. Kill him in a minute, don't care who's fighting. You don't wanna trip on the kids of Vikings. Camo and mullets and cowboy hats out in public. Got ammo stashed at my cousins and cashing addicts and cupboards. They all diss and we don't listen, can't hear it no more. We gone fishing, they gone missing. I told y'all before. I be on some white people hanging up.
His face.
White people. Every time they see me pulling up, they be like, "Oh my God, he be on some white people." Jumping out the plane, no parachute, so I'ma get the sooner. I ain't learned from school, always ditch Ferris Bueller. Screw your little truck, my square body over there's cooler.
I like the Ferris Bueller reference.
Shooters, I'm the white boy with the monster pump. Sit shotgun with a pop the truck. The Northern, a monster off the jump. I'm up my rocker, lots of guns. This ain't soccer, but watch them run. Shoot him in the lung, need oxygen. Huffing blood like he up and does. Talk too much till his coughing shuns. I'm never gonna back up too much ammo. We got him.
Wow.
The battle, had my fights right on the ground.
Great editing, Nova. Wow.
So look at us like stage 4 cancer. Look at them like pull your pants. Some dumbass kids ain't got no answer. Looked up to dudes with tattoos and rap music, bad moves and abuse in my past, acting stupid. I used the bad news for the gas to keep moving. I made it where I'm at. Now you rather see me losing. All my guys got tattoos on their face. They did the time they got jammed. What the hell's a blue check? They ain't got no Instagram.
Yeah, blue check doesn't mean anything.
They might think that I care, but I don't. I'll be on some white people hanging out the window of a truck, yelling, "I don't give a f***." White people. Every time they see me pulling up, they be like, "Oh my God, he be on some white people." Yes, segregated, but I'm still in the mix. I've been with Timer before he got canceled for speaking the truth about the world and exposing it for what it actually is. I see race as an issue, I'm running it back to the government to tell them this is a democratic, liberated, conservative, patriarchy dipped in action, affirmative hit song.
Yes.
State that I'm in as my mind is way deeper than color. I ain't think I'm blue versus red. I'm in control, consider that I'm carrying more than you know. One in the chamber that's ready to blow. Right at you push through, claiming you won't. I'ma keep praying that you get exposed. I promise. I'm not abiding by rule that you set for me. I'm not that mad at the past. I mean, it was only a couple of centuries. Well, actually, I'm pissed, but won't let that be my identity. So on behalf of all blacks, I forgive and don't want to be enemies. Just like you're sorry and talk to me nice. Comedic, if you get offended, that's a reflection of your own life and how you failed to live it right. So it's not black versus white, it's wrong versus right. Cause color is just a result of these multiple factors that we didn't choose. I mean, mom, dad, race, religion, things we're born into. Generational curses that get undone once we undo moves. See life from a different view, beyond our own skew. Manipulated by the news, crude, true things they use to confuse the masses. Put us in social classes, separated by percentages paid for taxes. Income brackets, clothes, cars, shoes, size of asses. I bet they try to blackmail me once I black out all these demographics and push past the stereotypical average and get blackballed and they cut all my traffic. Oh my God, he be on some black people hanging out the window of the trunk, screaming, "I don't give a f***." People, every time they see me pulling up, they be like, oh my God, he be on some white people.
That was awesome. Dax just killed it. There was so much going on. I couldn't even really stop in the middle to react. It was just, oh my God, that was awesome. That was just so awesome. Wow. That was intense from start to finish. I can't believe that was only 4 minutes long. I mean, man, this is the first song that I've reviewed so far live that I'm pretty speechless about. Yeah, I think he made a great point. I think it was right here. If we focus on red versus blue, then we're focusing on color, right? And that's what they use to make us fight against each other, to make it all about color. Red versus blue is the same thing. It's honestly brilliant. Tom and Adam, obviously, they're amazing artists and very talented. But I mean, I'm just gonna say it. Dax stole the show. I think what a lot of people don't realize is it doesn't matter what color you are, what race, religion, or what sexuality you are. You will get canceled from from what supposedly is supposed to be your tribe. I've been called homophobic many times for speaking out against the dangers of the trans agenda on children. I've been called homophobic for that, even though I'm LGBT. You know, I've seen Black creators be called horrible things, like Uncle Tom's. It's crazy. I see race as an issue, but I'm running it back to the government. Brilliant. Yeah, it shouldn't be left versus right. It shouldn't be black versus white. It should be all of us together against these government agencies that want to keep us apart. They want to keep us angry with each other. And he talks about how everyone is part of the problem when it comes to the race war that's in America, because we need to work together. It seems like racism is the worst I've ever seen. You know, when I was younger, I didn't notice the color of skin. I talked about this in my Why I Left the Left video, but like, I didn't see color back then because all I saw were boys and girls. But now it's contested to even say boys and girls anymore. So I definitely do think this is going to be a hit song for sure. All of the checks being flown around them, what does that represent? You know, the checks, the money's being dangled in front of people in order to like keep voting blue, keep voting for Democrats, because, you know, we'll give you these piddly checks. Like, it's really just a manipulative system for sure. This is wonderful editing. Amazing job, Nova. To see things as not red versus blue, you really have to take control of your own mind, because the media wants to control your mind and keep you focused on right versus left ideologies, and that is extremely toxic and detrimental to our society. Was it George Carlin that said it first? Like, it's a prestigious club and you and I aren't in it.
There's a reason education sucks, and it's the same reason that it will never, ever, ever be fixed. It's never going to get any better. Don't look for it. Be happy with what you got. Because the owners of this country don't want that. I'm talking about the real owners now. The real owners, the big wealthy business interests that control things and make all the important decisions. Forget the politicians. The politicians are put there to give you the idea that you have freedom of choice. You don't. You have no choice. You have owners. They own you. They own everything. They own all the important land. They own and control the corporations. They've long since bought and paid for the Senate, the Congress, the state houses, the city halls. They got the judges in their back pockets. And they own all the big media companies, so they control just about all of the news and information you get to hear. They got you by the balls. They spend billions of dollars every year lobbying to get what they want. Well, we know what they want. They want more for themselves and less for everybody else. But I'll tell you what they don't want. They don't want a population of citizens capable of critical thinking. They don't want well-informed, well-educated people capable of critical thinking. They're not interested in that. That doesn't help them. That's against their interest. That's right. They'll get it all from you sooner or later because they own this fucking place. It's a big club, and you ain't in it. Because the owners of this country know the truth. It's called the American dream, because you have to be asleep to believe it.
Doesn't matter what race, religion, sexuality you are. We're not in that big club. And the ones at the top, the elites, that are making us try to hate each other, they're all in the club. The elites that want to push the narrative, they don't actually care, or else they wouldn't be pushing this narrative at all in the first place. This reminded me of that George Carlin bit, so I wanted to share it with you. I can understand from the perspective of if you are raised and taught this critical race theory about how you're always a victim and white people made you poor and, you know, unable to get ahead. I can see how there would be some, you know, internal conflict at least. And you look at all of these rich families that own everything. Rothschilds, Rockefellers, the Morgans, right? And they all look white. So it's easy to hate them. And it's easy to hate people who might look like them. But the rich dynasties do not represent the majority of people. Of course. Any privilege that I've had was from my mother working 3 jobs and, you know, leaving me at home to be taken care of by my grandparents because my father walked out on me. And so she had to work 3 jobs to be able to keep a roof over our head. If that is privilege, I recognize it, but there are different levels of privilege. What is privilege to you? Leave a comment down below. And I like how he says, I'm not mad at the past, just only a couple centuries ago. I like to talk about that too, because you should not feel like you need to be guilty for things that people have done centuries ago, especially those who were not even related. Like, we are not the sins of our fathers. My father was not a good person, but I'm not him, and I would never make the mistakes that he made. So it's not fair to judge people or to try to guilt people for things that, you know, ancestors of ancestors might have done. Many of our families, you know, never owned slaves. Father's father didn't own slaves. And this whole left versus right, Republican versus Democrat thing, like Lincoln was Republican and he ended slavery. It's just really insane to me. And generational guilt does not help anyone. I mean, look at how absolutely broken German people are because they have been guilted for centuries about things that they didn't do. I really love this. On behalf of all blacks, you're forgiven. But yeah, I mean, look at how demoralized the German people are because they are just pushed this guilt forever by all of the world, by especially other people in Europe. Living in Germany really opened my eyes to a big perspective on how generational guilt is extremely toxic, extremely detrimental for the demoralization of a society.
Активные мероприятия in the language of the KGB or psychological warfare to change the perception of reality of every American to such an extent that despite of the abundance of information, no one is able to come to sensible conclusions in the interests of defending themselves, their families, their community, and their country. It's a great brainwashing process which goes very slow, and it's divided in 4 basic stages. The first one being demoralization. It takes from 15 to 20 years to demoralize a nation, because this is the minimum number of years which requires to educate 1 generation of students in the country of your enemy, exposed to the ideology of the enemy, is being pumped into the soft heads of at least 3 generations of American students, without being challenged or counterbalanced by the basic values of Americanism, American patriotism. The result you can see. Most of the people who graduated in the 60s, dropouts or half-baked intellectuals, are now occupying the positions of power in the government, civil service, business, mass media, educational system. They are programmed to think and react to certain stimuli in a certain pattern. You cannot change their mind, even if you expose them to authentic information. You still cannot change the basic perception and the logic of behavior. The process of demoralization is complete and irreversible. To get rid of society of these people, you need another 20 or 15 years to educate a new generation of patriotically minded and common sense people who would be acting in favor and in the interests of United States society. The psychological shock when they will see in future what the beautiful society of equality and social justice means in practice, obviously they will revolt. They will be very unhappy, frustrated people. And the Marxist-Leninist regime does not tolerate these people. They will join the links of dissenters, dissidents. Unlike in present United States, there will be no place for dissent in future Marxist-Leninist America. Here you can get popular like Daniel Ellsberg and filthy rich like Jane Fonda for being dissident, for criticizing your Pentagon. In future, these people will be simply squashed like cockroaches. Nobody is going to pay them nothing for their beautiful, noble ideas of equality. This they don't understand, and it will be greatest shock for them, of course. The demoralization process in the United States is basically completed already. Most of it is done by Americans to Americans. Exposure to true information does not matter anymore. A person who was demoralized is unable to assess true information. The facts tell nothing to him. Even if I shower him with information, with authentic proof, with documents, with pictures, he will refuse to believe it. Even if you start right now, here, this minute, you start educating new generation of Americans, it will still take you 15 to 20 years to turn the tide of ideological perception of reality back to normalcy and patriotism. The next stage is destabilization. This time, subverter does not care about your ideas and the patterns of your consumption. Whether you eat junk food and get fat and flabby doesn't matter anymore. And it takes only from 2 to 5 years to destabilize a nation. What matters is essentials: economy, foreign relations, defense systems. And you can see it in such sensitive areas as defense and economy. The influence of Marxist-Leninist ideas in the United States is absolutely fantastic. I could never believe it 14 years ago when I landed in this part of the world that the process will go that fast. The next stage, of course, is crisis. It may take only up to 6 weeks to bring a country to the verge of crisis. You can see it in Central America now. And after crisis, with a violent change of power, structure, and economy, you have so-called the period of normalization. It may last indefinitely. Normalization is a cynical expression borrowed from Soviet propaganda. When the Soviet tanks moved into Czechoslovakia in '68, Comrade Brezhnev said, "Now the situation in brotherly Czechoslovakia is normalized." This is what will happen in the United States if you allow all these schmucks to bring the country to crisis, to promise people all kind of goodies and the paradise on earth, to destabilize your economy, to eliminate the principle of free market competition, and to put a big brother government in Washington, D.C. with benevolent dictators who will promise lots of things, never mind whether the promises are fulfillable or not. He will create false illusions that the situation is under control. Situation is not under control. Situation is disgustingly out of control. The United States is in the state of war, undeclared total war against the basic principles and the foundations of this system. However ridiculous it may sound, the world communist system or the world communist conspiracy, whether I scare some people or not, I don't give a hoot.
Okay, so what do we do? What is your recommendation to the American people?
There must be a very strong national effort to educate people in the spirit of real patriotism, to explain them the real danger of socialist, communist, whatever, welfare state, big brother government. Educate yourself. Understand what's going on around you.
I do believe that America is being demoralized, not just with the race thing, but also the transgenderism thing, and we're all being poisoned. Our food and our water supply is poisoned. There's BPAs and everything, like BPAs in toilet paper. Like, you can only imagine what that can lead to, right? We need to stop fighting with each other on a human-to-human basis. People are forgetting that we're all humans, but people want victim status so much. They think that they can lean on that. But if you deny people their ability to lean on victim status, then that's how you get here, I guess. It is important to stand up for truth. There are real victims out there, but the people responsible for creating the trauma are not being held responsible. They're being protected while the blame is getting pushed on others that are simply trying to call out the corruption. You know, I lose friends on social media like every day. People like are messaging me and being like, I'm so disappointed in you since you've started talking about politics and your sources are right wing and blah, blah, blah. I'm a moderate libertarian, okay? Like, I do not believe in party loyalty. I do not believe in making your political ideology your entire personality. That's not good. Them trying to make politics my entire identity says more about them than about me. And he's right, it's right versus wrong, because you can't control how you were born, which is why I will not feel guilty because of how I was born. And I will never judge someone else or blame somebody else for whatever pigment their skin is. It's simple. I always love when Tom does collabs. They're always fire, but this song in particular is just really, really great. I'm going to be listening to this one on repeat for sure. Nova went above and beyond with her editing too. I'm very impressed by all of her work. So yeah, I mean, we are manipulated by the news. Like, it is legal to propagandize the masses. Places in Europe, like Germany, they have something called a media tax, where they tax their people to pay for the propaganda. It's insane. Media tax exists. Look it up. You know, we get all our propaganda for free. We don't want to go down that path. Like, we shouldn't. Like, as Americans, we need to stand up against that. We need to stand up against this generational guilt that they want to trap us in. We need to stand up against the propaganda the media shoves in our face. We're smarter than that. We need to stand together. We need to work together. You know, people want to talk about gentrification. Who's doing that? Look at who benefits financially from that type of thing, you know? It all goes up to the top. It has nothing to do with a human-to-human relation of bigotry. It doesn't have anything to do with that. It's the elites at the top keeping us down, keeping us fighting with each other so we can be controlled. Hi, Dopey. Jeez, Sophie's here. Yeah, I guess I'll end the video here. I definitely recommend watching my other videos. I go a little more in depth with my political views. Yeah, great collab. Absolutely awesome. Can't wait to see what they make next. Thank you guys so much for being here and for watching. All my socials will be down below if you would like to stay connected with me. I see what happens when a country is demoralized and overtaken by propaganda and generational guilt. And I don't want America to get to that point. I have hope. Thanks, guys. I'll see you next time.